Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a sub rogue guide, and the funny thing is there is a lot of builds you can play with sub, but it seems this one's probably the best overall, just because of the amount of CDs that you're getting, and you're not really forced into a corner just by doing damage and then having nothing. So this is a build that's basically when you vanish, you actually get cooldowns back, so you're basically being able to get your blind and your blades back in a faster amount of time, and it's pretty solid. Obviously, it's not like a one-shot build like the flag build I've been hearing about, but it's basically what I use. It does a lot of damage, and then you're also getting a lot of resets on your CDs. So it's like really good in solo queue, just because you basically can just reset all your cooldowns and get blind before they have trinket or something like that, or have your CDs before everyone else. Pretty much, it just helps a lot. So I use this build, especially when I'm playing twos or solo shuffle. And first, we'll start off with the gear. The gear is pretty easy so far. You're just trying to go as much mastery as possible. As you can see, I'm running the crafted ring and the other ring too. That's just max mastery. You lose out on a little bit of verse, obviously, but you get a lot of mastery, so it works out. I'm also using the fist weapon for the verse mastery weapon. And I'm using the crit dagger, obviously. And then I have the 2 sets so far. Hopefully I get 3 sets in Tuesday's vault, but you never know. You just don't know. Hopefully I get it, but we'll find out. But pretty much, that's pretty much all there is with the gear. Just go as much mastery. It's pretty much the exact same. You want to go for the two pieces here for the 105 verse, and then obviously just have verse mastery on both of them. Like I said, just go with as much verse mastery as possible. That's pretty much all there is to it. You want to be running the badge trinket, and that's all there is with the gear. Obviously, I'm too broke to get the third enchant. As you can see, I got 400 gold to my name at this point in time, so it's not looking too hot. But that is the gear I am rocking currently. Now for the build, I'll show you guys the actual build here. Usually I run cheat death in twos, but if I'm not playing twos, I'll run elusiveness. And this is pretty much the build here. Obviously, it'll be linked in the description, so if you just want to like copy the link and do that, you can go ahead. For the PvP talent, pretty much all there is to it is when I'm facing something I can disarm, so if I'm facing a warrior or something like that, or like a rogue, I usually use disarm, even though, the cloak is a really good cooldown, because it gives you basically like a bubble. It's not really that good compared to like disarm. Disarming somebody just ruins their entire setup or their entire burst. Like I know when I get disarmed, it's like annoying. There's nothing you can do about it. But when you can't run disarm, that's when you want to run, Veil of Midnight. So like versus like BM hunters, you basically can dodge all the pets because there's no really point of disarming a BM hunter. But that's really the only situation where I'd see you running it. Or if like your teammate is running disarm, then you can just run the cloak and basically have an extra vanish or evasion. I meant. But that's PvP talent. Usually it's gonna look like this right here. These three. You're really never changing these. And if you do change it, you're usually just going Veil in Midnight or Maneuverability. So like if you're facing a caster with nothing else, I would just run Maneuverability. You're getting an extra like faster sprint. But that's pretty much your build. And that's really all there is to it. We're going to go to the macros here. Now, only as you can see, I barely have any macros. I don't have any blind macros or anything like that. So for my macros, basically I have my Shadow Dance macro. Let me go to it right now, wherever it is. I have so many macros. I think it is... Let me find it. Shadow. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Okay, so if you're an orc, obviously put your racial in the burst because this is my burst macro. So this is everything at once. This is my badge, blades. Now I took symbols out because when you do shadow dance, as you can see, I use shadow dance here. I actually automatically get a symbols here for 6 seconds, pretty much 5, but you basically get to save your other symbols. So I don't actually put it in my macro anymore, and you shouldn't either. You should, after your symbols off your dance goes out, that's when you should be clicking your secondary symbols. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't put that in your macro because it automatically gives you one. Now, obviously, if you don't have the 2 set yet, then I would still put it in your macro. But obviously, if you do have it, you don't really need it. And obviously, if you guys were running the Fire East Vow as just a toy, whenever I click it, it just like it does the breath thing. So if you're ever wondering what the breath thing is, it's pretty much just this toy here that I use. That's pretty cool. I got it from the fair. Let's see, fire. It's right here. So this is all it does. It just like it's just flames. So if you're ever wondering why I have flames coming out of my character, it's legit just the toy because you can use it in arena and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's all you're doing for your burst macro, and then for your alt macro, all you're gonna be doing is shadow dance and your trinket, which is your badge, and that's all there is for your secondary one. It's just pretty basic. You're just using your shadow dance and your trinket and putting it into a link and then clicking it. So that's all my macros, and that's all I use. And then I also have a sap macro, so like it saps anything in front of me. So as you can see, it's targeting anything in front of me. So when you're in stealth trying to sap something, it'll just automatically sap. Instead of you having to click the target and then sap them, it'll automatically sap them if you can see them. I'll show you that macro right now if you were Curiante. Let me find it because I have so many Macriantes. Let's see. Sap. Where is it? It looks like it is. It looks like this one. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's this one, yeah. So it's pretty this much just the simple version, but I would go with the whole thing here. This is my actual whole version here. This is the one that I would run right here. So as you can see, I'll take it off, put it back on, and just type in all of this, and that's pretty much all there is to it. I'm trying to make sure it's like the right one because I don't want to give you like an entire different one, but I'm 99% sure this is it. So yeah, just copy everything here and you will have the sat macro. Okay, I forgot to add something in the macros, boys, so I'm trying to like do this in a order here. So with your macros, I actually forgot to show you guys my secret tech macro. So you only have to click secret tech. You don't have to click like cool blood and then secret tech. So all you're doing is macroing cold blood first and then secret tech. So it's gonna force that macro to hit cold blood and then secret tech. So you don't really have to worry about clicking it separately. You can just click it as a macro and that's all there is to it. Alright boys, now for your rotation. Pretty much it's not that hard. It can be depending on if they use cooldowns, but pretty much all you're going to be doing is this. So let's say you're opening up with a cheap shot, you're just going to do a normal go. You're going to cheap shot and pretty much just open like you normally would anybody else. So you're going to cheap shot, mini go, shadow strike, eviscerate, shadow strike, cheap shot, eviscerate, cheap shot. And then shadow strike for like your last go. And then after that, with these last combo points, you can either get a slice of dice, or you can get a fat rupture, so they can't get a re-stealth, or you just have extra damage pumping. And then that's pretty much your mini go right there. That's how you should open. And it's also good to know that you can always swap to the targets too. So let's say you just done that mini go right there. You could just use another dance and then cheap shot the other target and do the exact same thing. You don't just have to run right after you go at that one target. You can always swap to the other guy. But that's how you're going to do that little mini go right there. Pretty easy. You usually never want to use your blades on a cheap shot go. So like at the first start, you really don't want to, but you can. And all that would look like is this right here. So if you're opening and you're just wanting to click all your beat CDs at the very start, all you're going to be doing is pretty much the same thing. You're just going to cheap shot, but this time you're going to click all your CDs. So cheap shot, full burst, shadow strike, use your macro, shadow strike, eviscerate or cheap shot, eviscerate, cheap shot, eviscerate. That's pretty much your cheap shot burst go. And as you can see, Secret Tech done about 200k damage in that short amount of period of time. And that's your cheap shot burst go right there. It's not that hard, but make sure you're. I wouldn't really want to try that because your secret tech is based off your eviscerate damage. So as you can see, I only got like one good eviscerate in there, and that's why my secret tech did 200k instead of like 350. So you want to try to base your burst damage off of a kidney shot and then do your full, all your damage. But if you have to do it on a cheap shot, then that's just how you do it. It's not really that difficult. As you can see, I can vanish and just reset my cooldowns basically. So as you can see, they're already back into normal. That's why this build's so good. So like if you have to get away, it's actually not a bad thing. So as you can see, all my cooldowns are back again. So that's the cheap shot burst go. That's the cheap shot mini go. So let's. All right, boys. Now with your kidney go here, it's pretty basic. Now you saw the cheap shot go, but now I'm going to be showing you the kidney go. Now It can get a little confusing at times, but it's not that difficult. All you're trying to do is get max combo points and then use your 4 macro, and that's basically secret tech. And then you're gonna want to be clicking your symbols after your other symbols fades. So let's say this is your second go right here. So you've done your cheap shot go. So this is your second go. You're getting so beforehand you will always want to get combo points. So you got your combo points up, and pretty much all you're gonna do is kidney shot, and then you're just gonna be pumping. That's pretty much it. You're just gonna shadow strike, eviscerate, shadow strike, eviscerate, and that's after you use your macro. So as you can see, I'll show you right here. So you're gonna kidney shot, use all your burst here, shadow strike number 4, shadow strike, eviscerate, shadow strike, cheap shot, symbols, eviscerate, cheap shot, shadow strike, eviscerate. And as you can see, I'm doing about 100k a second. Fat eviscerates, fat 303k secret tech. And it's a little confusing. Slow it down if you have to, because obviously sometimes the my words can't go as fast as what that was going. So if you have to, just slow it down and just follow that, because that is your best. That's pretty much your best. That's your your bread and butter, or butter and bread. I think it's bread and butter. Maybe not though. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm. You know what I'm saying, all right? So pretty much that's your burst skill right there. You're just gonna Kinney and that's it. You just want to line up your secret tech with your combo points and then Kinney and then Kinney shot and then you're good to go. So like I said, so you get combo points beforehand and all you're gonna be doing is this. So you got your combo points and all you're gonna be doing is you're gonna Kinney and then you're gonna burst. So Kinney, burst, shadow strike, number 4, shadow strike, eviscerate, shadow strike, cheap shot, eviscerate, cheap shot, and so on. And that's all there is to it. Not really that difficult. Now, like I said, you want to keep your stuns over your damage because that's all sub rogue is. It's trying not to space out your stuns. So you're going to lose out on a little bit of dam, obviously, because you're going to be focusing on stunning instead of doing damage. But that's really all there is to it. Now with your mini go, you can always use your mini go on a tech go as well. You don't have to just save it for your blades, obviously, but usually if you're using your vanishes like frequently, as you can see, it's just gonna reset your cooldowns with this build. So you're gonna have blades a lot often. So already I have my blades up. So again, you're gonna get your combo points. So you got your combo points ready. This is obviously like the second or third go, whatever you want to do with that. And then all you're gonna do is I'm gonna wait for my trinket here, and then we'll do a full go again. So we're gonna Kenny, burst, shadow strike, use my number 4, shadow strike, eviscerate, cheap shot, symbols, shadow strike, cheap shot, eviscerate. So as you can see, I focus stuns over damage there, and you can see that I lost a little bit of damage, but it's still a lot of damage, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So hopefully I'm not confusing you guys too much here. Now the rotation can change depending on if they trinket. So if they do trinket, just keep doing a rotation, but the moment they trinket, just restun them instantly. Before doing anything else, just restun them and then keep going. Because a lot of people will save their cooldowns for when you use your burst. And when they do that, your burst is pretty irrelevant at the point, but, you know, that's pretty much all there is to it right there. That's your rotation, that's your mini rotation. Off that, all you're going to be doing is trying to keep up 7 combo point ruptures, and you're just trying to get your dances back. And you can also just do mini goes. As a sub rogue, you want to be trying to focus your kidneys on the off target. So in a solo queue, you want to be kinning the healer, and then you want to be cheap shotting the main target. So that's why that's why you would be bursting on the main target with a cheap shot. That's why I explained that. So I'll do that one more time. So this is a cheap shot burst go right here. So let's say you kidney the healer here. So you have 0 combo points, and then you walk over to your target, and you pretty much just cheap shot him. So you kidney the healer, or you blind them, whatever you want to do. Usually you're gonna kidney him though. You're gonna kidney, run over to this guy, cheap shot, burst, shadow strike, use number 4, shadow strike, cheap shot, symbols, eviscerate, cheap shot, shadow strike, and then you can obviously re-dance and go for a re-eviscerate and just keep going with the damage. Because as you can see, I'm still pumping. And all you're doing is shadow striking and eviscerating. So that's all there really is to it. Like I said, we're going to go with trading the cooldowns now. Because I know a lot of people ask me, how do you trade cooldowns? A lot of people end up, trading too many cooldowns. So you try not to overlap. So if you evasion and cloak, you don't want to click vanish. If you click vanish, you don't want to click evasion and cloak. It's like it comes down to you don't want to use cooldowns on top of other cooldowns unless you have to. A lot of times, some people will panic and use cloak, evasion, and trinket on the same cooldown, and it's just not gonna help you. If you're gonna click something, you gotta click it immediately. As you can see in my last other rogue mage videos, they wait to click something until 30%, and that's just too late. So make sure you're using your cooldowns very good. So like if you're facing a melee, you don't need to be cloak evasioning versus a melee. If you're facing a caster, you don't need to be evasioning a caster because they can't hit you. So there's just ways you can save cooldowns to where you're not actually overusing. And obviously, I'd have to make a whole video on how to use your CDs. But if you guys are interested in that, I will do that. I'm just making sure I don't miss anything here. Pretty much we got through the gear, we got through the talents, we got through the rotation, and all that good stuff. And obviously the build will be in the description, so if you guys want to check it out. Obviously, I'm not the best at these guides, and it's really hard to like kind of tell you guys what's going on through my mind and how to actually do it perfectly, because a lot of you guys play differently, and how I play could be different to how somebody else plays. Because a lot of people can run a different build, or they can have a different play style where they do this or they do that. But pretty much the one thing I can recommend is don't bleed the healer. If you can double bleed, sure. Like if you want to double bleed with a rupture, it'll do a lot of damage. But never touch the healer, because that's where your gouge comes in for play. A gouge is a really good cooldown because you can kidney into gouge or you can gouge into kidney. Usually you're gonna be or kidney into gouging, or you could just gouge him. As you can see, he just took that gouge like a man. But yeah, Gouge is a really good cooldown. It's really good for CC. I would use it off DR unless you're playing with like a mage or a hunter, to where then you don't want to DR their CC. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought about the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace. See you guys in the next one.